O'clock now, and we're gonna get started here soon. So this is what we're drawing today. You'll need a pencil, an eraser, and some paper. Um, yeah, we will be doing a little bit of perspective, so if you would like a ruler, you can grab one as well. Um, I would suggest if you want a little bit of a challenge, not using a ruler. We're not gonna be focusing a whole lot on the perspective. Um, So I won't be using a ruler. And yeah. Okay. I'll just wait for um just a little bit longer and then we will get started today. If you want to take a photo, like I said, you can take a photo and yeah. All right. So we're gonna jump right in here for this. So I'm going to have my book be landscape for this, just like my sketch is here. Um, just so we have a little bit more space lengthwise rather than height-wise. And yeah, we're going to get started here. So to start off, we're going to kind of start off with a little bit of perspective work. I will go over it and please ask any questions you have. Um, yeah, so to start off, we're going to start by adding in our horizon line here. So it's just a line right across the page. Um, we're going just in the middle here as our horizon line. And like I said, this lesson is not super focused on the perspective part of it. So if your line isn't perfectly straight, it's okay. All right. So we're going to be doing the same sort of perspective that we were doing for the last one we did, 2-point perspective. And to start off, I'm just going to be drawing the base of our building here. So I'm going to start off with a line from this corner and a line from this corner over here.
You have two points
Yes,
perspective or one?
2 points. So one on each side here.
Thank you.
Yep. But like I said, we're just putting in the construction lines in perspective. So all of our details are going to be just based off of the house and the environment rather than the perspective of it. As today, we're kind of focusing more on how to put something in an environment rather than just drawing something on its own. Um, so the perspective that we're doing is just kind of a base. So if you're not using a ruler for it, that's all right. It'll look just as good. I will be doing a little bit shorter of a triangle just because I want to keep the cottage a little bit smaller. So the higher up your lines are, the smaller things will get. And so if you want your cottage to be a little bit bigger, you move the lines downward and upward. And if you want them to be smaller, you put them a little bit closer to your horizon line in the middle. So from here, I'm just drawing a line up um, from this corner and drawing more lines up to that from my perspective points.
Sorry, so,
Yes.
sorry, it's Angela. I come in late and I'm kind of lost. So you,
Oh, yes. I can show you this if you'd like.
okay, and let me take a picture first, and
Yeah,
then
no worries.
I got the questions afterwards. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's right. Now, I draw a line in the middle, right?
Yes.
And then where is the point?
The 2 points are on the corners of my page. So I'm just putting them right on the edge of my line here at the corners.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, but then your triangle is not in the middle. Your triangle is in the 1/3 of the.
Yeah, so you can see on my sketch here, this line right here that I'm drawing on
Yeah.
this,
Mm-hmm.
this is
The
this line
line.
here.
Oh, okay. So I
Yeah,
do it in 1/3 of the middle line,
yeah,
right? Okay. Okay, that's good. That's fine
here.
now.
I can move this down so we can keep the sketch in frame if you guys would like. That might be a little bit easier there.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
now I'm going to add in the side of the house here. So I'm adding just a straight line like that, and another one on this side. Like so. So this is our main building here. Um, to add in the chimney, I kind of, um, because we're not focusing on perspective, if this is a little off, that's okay. So you can see when I'm doing it, I'm kind of just kind of following the perspective we put in, right? So it looks a little bit off, so I can fix it just a tad, but yeah. So I'll draw some lines here for this one, but you can see not all my lines are perfect. Um, and that's kind of the nice thing about sketching like this, when you're not kind of focusing on the perspective, you're just kind of focusing on putting in those shapes. So yeah. The last sort of construction thing we're doing for the house is just adding in this back part here, and that's kind of following the same. I'm going to add in some lines that are a little bit shorter on the top and bottom, and add in that. Maybe a little bit taller than that. So if you have any questions about perspective stuff, you can ask them now. Um, I can go over things again if you would like, but um, we are really just using this for a base. So all of the details that I added on the house are based off of the lines we already have down. So All right, I will just wait another minute, and we will keep going here. Like I said, if you had any questions, um, just ask them if you want me to go over anything again. This class is for you, so yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sweet.
Thank you guys. This is definitely more fun than my regular job, so
I have a question here.
yes.
Yeah, the last block that you have drawn,
This one?
yeah, that one.
Yes.
The connection between the top to the
Yes.
perspective point, is that should it follow the point where the perspective is coming
Uh,
from?
this one?
Yeah, that line,
Yeah.
is it parallel to the endpoint to the extreme right?
So it
You're right.
is
Yeah.
following this line here. So it's connecting there. It is very close to being parallel with this one, if that's what you're asking. It's a
Yeah.
little bit different, but this line is, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Um, it's different, right? So it will be more based on the other point of the perspective. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
okay, so it's a bit inclined.
Yes,
Okay,
it will be a little bit inclined, yes.
thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Sometimes with perspective, lots of your lines look very straight, and then it's a little bit confusing. So um, yeah. All right. So we are going to continue on here. Um, and we're going to add in the roof of our cottage. So the roof that I have in here is fairly simple. So to start off, I'm going to try and find the middle-ish of this square. So it doesn't have to be exact, but just kind of finding somewhat the middle and keeping that line going upward a little bit. So have the line extend from the middle of that, like so. And then I'm going to connect it to the base of our house here with some rounded lines. And your roof can kind of be any height you would like. If you want it to be shorter, it can be shorter like that. If you want it to be taller, it can be taller. Yeah, so I'm just adding in those rounded lines there. So the next step of this roof is the top of it, and this I'm going to connect this middle point here down to this perspective point. So I'm just drawing in a line like so, and then Pardon me, I'm still getting over my cold that I had. Unfortunately, in our area of Calgary, there's a nasty cold that's been going around, so it's been tough to shake it. Um, I'm then going to, from this spot here, connect it downward to, oh, it's a little bit further than this, but connect it to that line there with another rounded line. And this is our roof. But you can see it gets covered quite a bit by this tree, so if it's not perfect, like it'll be covered, which is nice. A large portion of when you're drawing something in an environment, you're kind of focused on what needs to be drawn in and what can be left out. So we could be adding in like this like wall that we can't see here on this house, or adding in all of the details and stuff, but if we can't see it, then we don't need to add it in, which is nice. Yeah. So from here, I'm going to add in a chimney, and I'm just kind of adding a rectangle on top of this one, and I'm rounding the top of this so it looks like it's a cylinder. It doesn't have to be rounded too much, as we're not high enough up for it to look like very rounded. So yeah, and that is our chimney.
You don't see smoke.
Yeah, I didn't draw any smoke in this one. We can add in some smoke if you would like, but
I'm joking.
oh, yeah. Um, it's kind of like a winter or a summer or spring kind of drawing, so it's not really weather that you would have a furnace running, right? Well, maybe in Canada you'd have a furnace running in the spring. All right. We're going to add in this roof here, and I kind of just add in a line and a rounded bit. So it's definitely not exact, but I actually follow this line from the house here, and then I draw a rounded line there for the roof. So this is our base of the cabin or cottage all done. And next we're gonna erase some of our construction lines and kind of work out the rest of the layout of the forest around here. And then we'll go into adding some details. So I'll wait for just another minute, and then I'll start erasing some of the lines we've got. Okay, so What we're going to erase is kind of everything except for our horizon line here. So we want to keep the flat line, but you can erase just about everything else. So I'm erasing all the lines that overlap each other. So the line of the roof through the chimney I'm erasing. Lines like that. I'm erasing these lines here. I'm erasing the middle line of the cabin or cottage. And erasing all of our extra lines here. So from here, we're going to draw in our river. So to do that, I'm going to be starting at our horizon line here and drawing kind of a squiggly shape. It's kind of up to you how you would like your river to look. And so I'm just adding in that first line here. And yeah. So the next line of the river, you want to start at the same spot and go out just a little bit from it and follow your squiggly line. And you can see I'm making it kind of uneven. So you can see this is quite a bit thicker than this spot. And that's just to keep my river looking more natural. So from here, I'm going to add in our bridge, and it's quite simple. So I'm just going to start with an arch above part of our river here, and then a second one a little bit above it. And from here, I'm going to connect these lines and keeping those lines kind of on an angle. So you can see my lines are a little bit angled. And you do want to keep your bridge kind of even. Mine isn't super even, so I'm just fixing it up a little bit here. And from here, I'm going to add in our posts for our bridge. So I'm going straight up from the corners of it, like that on both sides. And then connecting these two lines together. Just like that. So on this bridge, we're also going to add in some posts. So I'm just kind of thickening up the lines on either side. And then you can either put one in the middle, or you can put two of them, or three of them. I'm just putting one in the middle on each side. And this middle one, you want to connect it to,
Zoe,
yes.
please, you can't try the bridge apart in other paper. How to make this one?
You want me to show you how to draw the bridge again?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yes.
Another, yeah, apart.
Yeah, I can do that. It's a little bit confusing. Yeah, so let's
Yeah, if
yeah, we can do that again.
please.
So the bridge I started with, here, let's add in our river first. So if this is the river, I start by adding in two arches or arcs, and I connect them together. Oh, that side looks off. So I connect them like that.
Mhm.
And then from here, I add in the handles on the bridge. So I follow that same arch shape as below it. And I connect it like that for the handles. And then I add in, I'll only show you the front side of it, so it doesn't get confused with the back of it. But I add in the side pieces, and then you can add in any poles or parts that you want in the middle, like that. Does that make kind of more sense? So these poles are on the side of the bridge like this, and they connect down towards the ground. And this is the like walkway of a bridge, and there's no backside. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, it gets a little bit confusing with the one in the back there as well. Yeah, so that's how I draw in the bridge. And I often, when I'm drawing things like railings, I like to keep the lines thicker. So I'll go back in and I'll make this top line thicker on both sides. And I then shade in all of the bars So I just go over it with my pencil and fill in all of these, and then it's a little bit clearer to see. And there is our little bridge. I'm going to erase the river that the bridge covers, just those two lines, like that. And to add in the like walkway parts, I just do little stripes like that. So I try to line them up with this edge and this edge of the bridge. And yeah. So they're like parallel to this line or to this line. So from here, we're going to start adding in some foliage. So I'll just wait for a minute and then we will add some in. So we're going to start here by adding in this tree and this tree here. And we're going to be starting off with this one. So I'm going to show you how I draw trees in this style. So I start off with kind of like a triangle here. It's a little bit of like a wonky triangle that doesn't close at the top. And this is going to be the trunk of our tree. And those lines, I continue them getting closer up to about where I want the tree to stop. And I continue those lines, and I don't ever really connect them because that's going to be covered by a lot of like the leaves and stuff of the tree. So you don't really ever see the like top branches in this type of style. Like you can't see a whole lot of branches or anything like this in this one. It's a little bit more cartoony and a little bit simpler. Yeah. So that is the start of our trunk here. And I like to add in the roots next. So I'm just adding in really long triangles coming out of the base. Like so. And they're not like straight lines. Lots of my lines are like curved. Because it's an organic shape, you kind of want to keep it as not straight lines as possible. I don't know how to phrase that really. But you kind of just want to keep the shapes not very like pointy or flat. because it is like an organic thing. So yeah, there is the trunk of our tree with some roots, and the branches I kind of add the same way as the roots. So I just add in some triangles at the top, and I'm going to add in 2 here, but that's it. So the leaves will cover most of the top of this. So I'm just adding in a few things. Just things that you won't, like you will be able to see after we put leaves on it. If you want, you can also add in a branch a little bit lower and then have leaves that come off of that branch as well. So the leaves are fairly simple to add in. I start with like big oval shapes, and this is our like construction shapes for our tree. And I'm just adding in like big circles and then a couple of smaller circles to kind of make the shape more irregular. So yeah, we're just starting off with uh like circles and stuff. Well, they're more like ovals, but yeah. Oh, these lines are very light. If you want, I can darken them up a bit. So from here for the trees, I start to add in leaves, and all my leaves are just bumpy shapes. So I'm going around just the outsides of the shapes and just adding in lots of irregular bumps and things. So I'm going just on the outside, you can see. So not going over like this line here or this line. Just going around them both at the same time. Except for this, like, what is it called? This connecting line here. I'm going to be following this one as this is a different branch. And from here, I'm just going to add in some like bumpy shapes within the tree. I'm going to be cutting off the branches you can see with these lines. So it looks like they're going into the leaves that we put on. And yeah, I'm kind of doing like 1 bump or 2 bumps or 3 bumps, and that's really it for the shape of our tree. And I'm going to do this branch as well here on its own. And the final step for our tree here is just to erase all the lines and darken up some things. So I'm going to go through and darken up the lines of my tree trunk here. And erase the lines that I don't want on my tree. So lots of the oval lines that we put in as our construction, you can erase those. Any lines of the house behind it that are in the leaves, erase those. The branches that, like the points of them that we cut off with those leaf lines, I erase those. Yeah. So there is how I draw a tree in this style of sketching. So in just a minute, we'll go through another tree and then go on from there. Okay, so the next tree we are adding in is going to be on this side here. And I'm going to start with that same triangle shape at the base. And then following it up to the top. On both sides. I'm then going to add in the roots. So adding in some triangles. And erasing some of the lines we have. So next we're going to add in the tree branches at the top. And I'm going to be adding in two, just like our other tree. And then the really nice thing about this tree is it gets cut off on the top and the side here. So you only need to draw just a little bit of it. You can see in this one, I've only drawn just like one of the corners of the tree. So I'm going to add in those circles. There's not many circles to add in, but yeah. And just like the other tree, I'm going to add in our leaf shapes. So you want these to be just a little bit bigger than this one, as this tree is like closer to where we're drawing the picture from. So it's a bit bigger of a tree, and just adding in some bigger leaves. And those shapes on the inside as well. So our next step here is just to erase things. So erasing the oval parts and the parts that overlap. This tree doesn't have as much erasing because there's not much behind it yet. And I'm going to erase the part of the horizon line where it overlaps. I forgot to do that on this tree. Oh, and I'm also going to darken some of the lines that we've got here if they're just a little bit too light. If you want as well, you can erase the lines between some of your branches. So it looks like your branches are coming from like the front side of the tree rather than the side of it. Like that. So the next part of this is going to be adding some more quote unquote trees to the background here. So we're going to be adding in all of this, and we're going to be adding in this bush in the front here. And this part is fairly simple. We're just doing the same thing that we did with the leaves, but on a bit of a bigger scale. So I'm going to be putting in some ovals and some big shapes. And ooh, you kind of just want to fill up the background. So they kind of look almost like the tops of clouds. Like you want to keep them very round and full. And yeah.
Zoe,
Yes.
behind the cottage, we have a mountain or what?
It's just trees and stuff behind.
Tree.
So you can see on this, it's just these like bush-like things, and that's just to make it look like there's a lot of trees behind it.
Not
Yeah.
No, thank you.
If you want to put mountains in the background, you can. I can show you how to do that. They're not too hard to add in, so I can show at the end if you remind me. Yeah, so these are done the same as the leaves, and just adding in those bumpy lines that we've been doing for things. And this part you want to outline more, so you can see this oval I put in, I outlined it. Yeah, so you want to outline almost all of the shapes that we've added in. So rather than connect some of them, you want to overlap them and things. And this is just to give this area just a little bit more depth at the background or in the background. And I'm going to be adding in some more random parts here. Yeah, it's this part is just to kind of fill up the background so it looks like the cottage is in a forest and not just in like flat land. So it's just adding to the environment of our drawing. And I also have a bush up in the front here that I did the same way. And you can see I've kind of added in little bushes like all around the cottage and stuff. And this is just to make it look a little bit fuller. So to do this, I just add in circles wherever I would like them. And making them a little bit irregular still with our shapes. And just doing that same leaf kind of thing. And you can see in my bumps, sometimes I do like almost individual leaves. And that's just to change up the texture of things. And then I go through and I erase some of the circle lines that I have put in. The nice thing about this being all like a sketch is you can leave lots of your construction lines without it looking out of place. Yeah, because this is sketching, it's not really like a finished drawing. It's more just for fun and for learning. So I like to leave quite a bit of my original lines in a lot of my sketches. So from here, we're going to add a little bit more detail to the surrounding area, especially around the river. And it's just mainly going to be plants and rocks that we're adding on. So the plants that I do are kind of just really, really long ovals. And I kind of just put them in little clumps in places. So this is like a water plant per se. If they're a little bit more sporadic, it's like long grass. And I kind of just add them in a little randomly so it makes it look more wild because we are um in like a forest environment. So yeah. I like to add in little like longer patches of grass. You can put little flowers in as well. And this is just to fill out some space. And I also like to add in rocks and stuff. And they're just kind of lumpy, like circles and ovals. I do like to keep the bottoms of all my rocks flat, and that just makes them look like they're almost like submerged in the ground in a way. So there was just like a little less than a minute worth of adding in random plants and stuff. It just looks a little bit more full. I'm going to add them around the house as well. Um, I just want to add more detail to the house before I do that. Um, yeah. So we're going to move on to the house in just a second here. The other thing to add to the river is like water lines throughout the river. So these are really like just light lines to kind of show the movement of water. Not much. Like they're very, very light. Even in person, they're very light, but yeah. So from here, we're going to start adding to our house a little bit, and I'm going to start by adding a planter box on the front of our house. So we're going to be adding in this here, and Rather than use perspective for this, I'm actually going to just use the lines we have. So I'm going to extend the line of our house here, and keeping it parallel to this line, I'm going to add in a line here, and then a line straight up. So it might look a little bit wonky because we're not using the perspective points, but in my opinion, that adds to the charm of the drawing. uh, yeah, so to finish this off, I'm just drawing another line that's still parallel to the base of our house here and going straight up from that corner and connecting it back. And I would add a little connecting line on this side as well, just so it looks a little bit more 3D, although it will be covered with plants. So to add flowers to this flower box, I start by just erasing any lines we don't need. And really, I just kind of add in like bumpy lines like that, or I add in plants where I go like a straight line up and then add rounded shapes to each side, like so. And I just kind of add those throughout the whole box. So adding in some more like bushy plants or things like that. I'm also adding in this back line of the planter, um, which you will not be able to see in a minute. I just added it in out of habit. So there are the plants in our planter. Uh, yeah. So the last thing we're going to add to this is just a little bit of texture to the planter box. So I'm just doing some mostly straight lines to decorate the outside of it. And yeah. And I'm going to erase um, lots of the lines that I don't need here. So next we're going to add in some details and windows to our house. And I will go through this a little bit slower. Yeah, and please ask me questions. But for most of this, we are going to be using the lines, pardon me, the lines that we already have. So like this line here for the top of, or for the base of the roof, the horizon line we have in the middle here, the base of our house, like those are going to be most of the lines that we're using as reference, rather than the perspective points. So just keeping things kind of parallel to that. And yeah, so to start off, I'm going to add some extra lines to thicken up the corners of our house. So making them look like they're like thicker than just normal corners. So you can see on this one, I've added, so like this is our middle corner of our house, and I've added lines on either side. You can see it in this one too here. So these are the lines we're adding on the sides. Yeah. I'm also going to add another line at the base of our house here, just to kind of thicken up the bottom of it. And another line at the top here that is mostly covered by trees. So we're going to start with this front window here, as lots of it is covered. So I'm going to start by adding in a line just a little bit down from that one, and then a line here. And again, I'm just kind of following the lines we already have. It won't look perfect in the perspective we have, but it's just adding a little bit of detail. So these two lines here, I'm following more with our line of planter blocks. Yeah. And the window is just added in with two lines like that, just a little bit away from the sides of our house, and then I thicken those up a little bit and add in the window. So you can't really see this window in particular. So I just add in a little bit of the frame, as you can't really see much of it. But that is how we're going to be doing most of this house. So the window on the side here is going to be a little bit clearer to draw. So we're going to start by adding in another line following the base of this house. And then we're going to be using this roof line for the other one. So you can kind of redraw it in if you need. And just following that for the second line here. And then thickening those two lines just a bit. And you can see I'm drawing on top of my tree, just because we can erase that easy, and it's helpful to see where your lines are going. So to add in the window on this side, I'm going to do the same thing, just adding in some like upward lines. And then I'm going to add a line in the middle and then one like that. And I'm going to divide these sections as well. So that is our window. And so for this middle line here, I followed this one. This one was on the horizon line, so I just drew the straight line of that. And then this one, I followed this line that we had put in. So there's one more window to add in at the top here. And to do that, I'm going to follow these lines straight up and connect them to the roof. And this is just to keep it kind of even with the bottom window here. And I'm going to do the same. It's a little bit harder on this side as there's a tree. But I'm just continuing those lines upward to the roof like that. And then following this line here, I'm adding in a cross line. So same angle as that one. And then putting in the window frame, just like we've been doing for the other two. So we've got just a couple of steps left, and then we've got a finished drawing. So we're going to do the door that we've got to add in, and then the roof, we're going to add some texture to our fireplace here. And then I think that's it. 3 steps. Oh no, the path as well. Yes. So the door is added very simply. I just add in a rectangle that like connects to this wall. I'm going to make it just a little bit thinner. And then adding a line around it on the outside. And then I add in a little circle for a handle. So the roof is pretty simple. I like to make the roof quite a bit thicker than the house, especially on like a cottage, because then it looks kind of like those like straw roofs on houses that you see in like, I don't know, like, yeah. So I go over and I kind of make all of my lines for my roof just a bit thicker than what they were. So I'm kind of going just a little bit out from where all my lines are, and then coloring all of this in with my pencil. Yeah, and I'm going to do the same with this roof here. Oh, I also forgot to add in this line on the side of the wall and at the base. So we're going to add the detail to this chimney next, and we're going to start by adding like stripes to it. If you remember, what was it, 3 weeks ago, we did bricks on part of a house, and we're going to do them the same way here. So I'm going to add in our lines. And then I'm going to add in brick texture. So I'm going to add a line in the middle on every other layer like this. And then do the same on this side, but they're like alternating. So on this side, there's a line, there's no line on that one. And I'm going to add in 2 lines on the one that has that. Like so. So there's our brick texture. And if you want, I'm going to shade this chimney in just a little bit, so it's a little bit darker than our house, just for a bit of contrast and some variety. So I'm just shading in the chimney and the fireplace, like that. So the final bit here is our path, and it's very similar to the river that we did. Just adding in a squiggly line, and I'm connecting it to our bridge here. And on this side of the bridge, I'm just drawing it off the page. Like that. And on the edge of this path, you can add like some leaves, or on the path, some like stones. Or not leaves, like grass. Just to add some variety. So this is our finished sketch. I'm going to go through right now and just erase the lines we used for the windows as guides and things like that. I'm also going to darken up our horizon line, but also make it kind of like bumpy. So it looks a little bit more of like a hill type line rather than anything. And darken up the edges of my river here. And if you wanted to keep working on this sketch like after class, you could add in more texture to the grass. You could shade in some things. This is a sketch that can kind of be like built on. So if you wanted to add like a bird's nest in the tree here, that's really simple. I just kind of draw a triangle in between the trees, and I add like lines and sticks like this. And then you've got a little bird's nest in your tree. Yeah, so it's something that you can like kind of grow on in your sketch. Oh, if you'd like, I can show you how to do mountains in the background, which are fairly simple. So to do mountains in the background, I kind of just do like triangle shapes like this, and you want to make them a little bit irregular. And yeah, so here are some mountains, and if you wanted to get more detailed, you could add in some lines to show like the valleys and different faces of the mountains. And you could shade them in so they're darker in the back there. Yeah, so this is our sketch for the week. Oh, Angela, that's really pretty.
The mountain is kind of, the mountain on the top is supposed to be round or supposed to be like a triangle.
It depends on the mountains you're drawing.
Oh, okay. It can be a pointed top.
Yeah, so like the mountains that we have in like Alberta are very pointy.
Uh-huh.
But there's like a mountain in Ontario called Candy Mountain, and that's like just rounded at the top. So it really depends on your mountains. Yeah.
Mhm. I like this type of drawing.
Me too. It's what I draw the most for sure, is just little like landscapes and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, very nice. It's a little blurry, but oh, that's really nice. Yeah. Oh, that's great. I like the different colors of mountains that you added in that.
There's a shadow and light.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a three sisters.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
All of your drawings are so good, you guys. These are great. Oh, nice.